Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm Lunarcraft, and I'm here with the weekly AstroTarot predictions, information, whatever you want to call it. And as usual, I will focus on a particular star sign, and at the moment, it will be Aries. Starting off with general astrological information, then moving on to anything astrological that relates specifically to the star sign, and finally drawing out 3 tarot cards to see what messages are contained within those. So let's get to it. We have another busy week up in the skies. And starting with the moon in Aquarius squaring with Uranus in Taurus, meaning that we may be somewhat eccentric, headstrong, fanatical, irritable, and changeable. Be mindful that abnormal habits and self-harm could also appear. Also, we have a new moon on the 1st of February, and that will bring with it highly charged emotions and an emphasis on female aspects. Also, this particular new moon also marks the beginning of the Chinese New Year and the Year of the Tiger. Those born under this sign tend to be confident, brave, magnetic, idealistic, thrill-seeking, and a tendency for it to be arrogant and selfish. But basically, all good. And next, the moon moves into Pisces and conjuncts also residing in Pisces. And that could lead to significant financial gains as well as social success. Then 3rd of February, Mercury returns to its direct movement, no longer retrograde. And the moon in Pisces is sextile, that's at 60 degrees, with Mercury, who is in Capricorn, which leads us to making sound judgments, developing an aptitude for learning, and heightened communication skills. Then towards the end of the week, we see the male sun in Aquarius sextile with the female moon in Pisces. The communication between the male and female principles is absolutely fine, no problems. And you're likely to find that relatives and friends are helpful. And then finally, at the end of the week, the moon moves into Taurus, helps us to preserve and increase money and material possessions. Security is essential to us, and these particular days, the focus will be very much on family and home. Now, looking at the more specific things, Aries, the recent past has seen you struggle, particularly where money is concerned. However, the new month brings with it a new financial outlook that could well generate income from the work and projects that you complete. The influence of the new moon will bring emotions and feelings to the surface, and it's possible that you could discover love or even your soulmate. Right, moving on to look at your tarot cards for this week. Just pull out 3 now. And because I can't see what they are otherwise. Okay. In the first position is the moon that I've just been talking about. And it suggests that you trust your intuition and the messages that you receive without knowing where they come from. And the current new moon is very likely causing your intuition to be supercharged. So take it in your stride. Right in the middle is the Knight of Pentacles, who is the guardian within the tarot deck. And often he causes circumstances to slow down, to give time for contemplation, and else necessary before taking action. Make sure you're doing the right thing. And finally, the Ten of Cups is in the third position and points towards achieving happiness, particularly with regard to family life. It also reminds us that love's ideals are indeed attainable. Okay, so not a bad week all in all. That's me done for you this week, Aries. This time I'm looking firmly at you, Taurus. As usual, I will start out with the general astrological information, then move on to anything that is more specific to your star sign, and finishing off by drawing 3 tarot cards. So, we had a busy week last week, and it's going to be busy again this week. Starting with the moon in Aquarius squaring with Uranus, who is in Taurus, meaning that we may be more eccentric than usual, headstrong, fanatical, irritable and changeable, but also be mindful that abnormal habits and self-harm could also appear. Now we've got a new moon on the 1st of February where emotions will be highly charged and the feminine aspects will be emphasized. And this particular new moon also marks the beginning of the Chinese New Year, the year of the tiger. Those born under this sign tend to be confident, brave, magnetic, idealistic, thrill-seeking, and may have tendencies towards being arrogant and selfish. Next, the moon moves to Pisces and conjuncts with Jupiter, also residing in Pisces. And that could lead to significant financial gains as well as social success. Then on the 3rd of February, Mercury returns to its direct movement, no longer retrograde, and the moon in Pisces is sextile at 60 degrees with Mercury, who is in Capricorn, and that will lead us to making sound judgments and developing an aptitude for learning Also, communication skills will be heightened. Then, towards the end of the week, the male sun is in Aquarius and sextile with the female moon in Pisces. The communication between the male and the female principles is absolutely fine. No problems coming from that at all. And you'll probably find that relatives and friends are helpful, willing to help. And then finally, at the end of the week, the moon moves into Taurus, and that helps us to preserve and increase money and material possessions. Security is essential to us, and these particular days are likely to be very focused on our families and homes. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, yes. Poor Taurus. Thank goodness we're in a new month, because the indications are good that a long-term project that may have been postponed can now progress as intended. Do exercise caution when faced with signing a contract or any other legal document. Make sure you read all the fine print. There are strong indications that you could find yourself being duped or scammed into losing a great deal of money. For those of you who are getting married or making long-term commitments, don't allow issues around money to cause rifts between the two of you. Right, okay, that's it on the astro side. Well, that's easier to say. Looking now to drawing out 3 tarot cards for this coming week. And I'm going to lose my voice. Haha. Wonder if I can do this in silence. I think I might be finding out. Okay. 3 cards, starting out with the Page of Swords, who gives encouragement to communicate your ideas, plans to those who could offer support. And in the middle is the Two of Wands, and that indicates your ability to come across as being inventive, different, and original. This will act to attract people to support you and your ideas. And then finally, the Three of Swords, suggesting that you may be fearful of being hurt emotionally and or feeling let down by others. Just to make you aware of that. Hi, Gemini. And as usual, I will go through the general astrological information, then look at how that is for your star sign, and finally drawing out 3 tarot cards with messages for you for the week. So we have yet another busy week in the skies above, starting with the moon in Aquarius squaring with Uranus in Taurus, and that could well result in us being eccentric, headstrong, fanatical, irritable, and changeable. And be mindful that abnormal habits and self-harm could also appear. Now we have a new moon on the 1st of February, where emotions are highly charged, with the feminine aspects being emphasized as well. Also, this particular new moon marks the beginning of the Chinese New Year, and indeed the year of the tiger. Now, those born under this sign, the sign of the tiger, tend to be confident, brave, magnetic, idealistic, thrill-seeking, and may have tendency towards being arrogant and selfish. The next thing is the moon in Pisces conjuncts with Jupiter, also in Pisces, and that could lead to significant financial gains as well as social success. Then 3rd of February, an important day for your diaries. Mercury returns to its direct movement, no longer retrograde. And the moon in Pisces is sextile, that's at 60 degrees, with Mercury in Capricorn, leading us to being able to make sound judgments, developing an aptitude for learning, and heightened communication skills. At the end of the week, we see the male sun in Aquarius sextile with the female moon in Pisces. Communication between the two, the male and female principles, is absolutely fine. No problems from that at all. You will probably also find that relatives and friends are helpful, willing to help. Finally, at the end of the week, the moon moves into Taurus and helps us to preserve and increase our money and material possessions. Security is essential to us, and these particular days will likely be very focused on family and home. Okay, moving on now to see what's specific for you, Gemini. Now is the time for you to exercise the grey matter and explore ideas for future employment opportunities. And one area that may be worth considering could be renovation or upcycling. If you are thinking about joining forces with a partner, please be sure to read any agreements or other paperwork very carefully to make certain you fully understand everything. A long trip or even a religious journey could bring you financial success in some way. When it comes to matters of the heart, offer your affection and love unconditionally. Okay, moving on to look at the tarot cards. Let's just find 3 cards for you for this coming week. Okay, and 3. And turn them over. And nice, we have the Wheel of Fortune in the opening position, which suggests that the outlook is improving for you. Also, that you could well be presented with opportunities that are worth serious consideration. In the middle is the Six of Cups that advises you to get in touch with your inner child and perhaps adopt a more playful outlook on life. You may also find yourself bringing happy memories to the forefront of your mind, filling you with nostalgia for times past. And what is the Page of Cups? And that card offers the advice and encouragement to trust your intuition, especially at this time with the new moon in Cancer, which will heighten that gift. Hi, Cancer. So I will go through the general astrological information, then follow it up with more specific messages, astrological messages for Cancer, and then finally choosing 3 tarot cards and interpreting those. So let's jump straight in. It's going to be yet another busy week in the skies above, starting with the moon in Aquarius, squaring with Uranus in Taurus. And that could well result in us being perhaps a bit more eccentric, headstrong, fanatical, irritable, changeable. Be mindful that abnormal habits and self-harm could also appear. And we have a new moon on the 1st of February, where emotions are highly charged with the feminine aspects being emphasized. And you're going to feel it, believe me. And this new moon also marks the beginning of the Chinese New Year and the year of the tiger. Those who are born under this sign of the tiger tend to be confident, brave, magnetic, idealistic, thrill-seeking, and may have tendencies towards being arrogant or selfish. Next, the moon in Pisces conjuncts with Jupiter, also in Pisces, and that could well lead to significant financial gains as well as social success. And on the 3rd of February, Mercury returns to its direct movement, no longer retrograde, and the moon is sextile with Mercury, that's at 60 degrees, with Mercury in Capricorn, and that encourages us to make sound judgments, developing an aptitude for learning, and heightened communication skills. At the end of the week, we see the male sun in Aquarius sextile with the female moon in Pisces. The communication between the male and the female principles is absolutely fine. No problems coming from that at all. Also, you may well find that relatives and friends are helpful. And then finally, at the end of this week, the moon moves into Taurus and helps us to preserve and increase money and material possessions. Security is essential to us. And these particular days we're likely to be very focused on our family and home, even more so than usual, Cancer. Moving on to the more specific stuff, this week could offer us Cancerians a double-edged sword, where you find that a new connection that on the surface appears to be of little advantage could transpire to provide you with an unexpected income stream. However, you would be well advised to hold off for a week or so before committing yourself, as there is a risk of loss. Linked with that is for you to consider very carefully before you agree to invest in a business with friends, as again, there is a possibility that you may lose money or even be cheated. Okay, a bit of doom and gloom, but not too bad if you keep your wits about you. Now turning to the tarot cards, and 3 cards, coming up for Cancerians. So that's 1 and 2 and which one? That one. Right. Okay, let's turn these over and see what we've got. Okay. In the first opening position is the 5 of Pentacles. That suggests you could be spending time in contemplation, soul searching, if you like, probably as a reaction to the full moon that occurred in your star sign. Guard against this leading you to feeling unworthy or excluded. In the middle is the Strength card, and that points to your inner core of strength that you can draw on in times of need. This store of strength also enables you to take control of your life. And finally, the 3 of Wands appears. And it suggests that you are now ready to set out on a new journey. But it also encourages you to keep an open mind that will enable you to recognize the ways in which newly gained knowledge can feed your aspirations as you progress. So, not a bad week. A few challenges, but you're up to it. Thank you very much for being here, for listening. I will be back, same place, same time, next week, and I sincerely hope you'll be able to join me. But in the meantime, have a fabulous week, and bye-bye.